Tonight, we look beyond the front lines, not just at the shifting borders or the thunder of artillery, but at the quieter, often unseen toll this war has taken on ordinary people. The true story of conflict is not only written in military reports or political statements, but in the everyday lives that have been upended, the dreams put on hold, and the futures left uncertain. The human cost of this brutal war is measured not just in numbers, but in lives suspended between hope and despair. Every shattered window, every abandoned home, tells a story of families forced to flee, of communities torn apart, and of a sense of safety that may never fully return. For every soldier on the front, there is a family waiting anxiously for a sign of life, a phone call, a letter, or even a rumor that their loved one is safe. The war's reach extends far beyond the battlefield, touching mothers, fathers, children, and friends who live each day in a state of suspended animation, hoping for good news but fearing the worst. Now, in its third year, the war has left countless households in Ukraine and Russia in mourning. The loss is not just of life but of innocence, of trust, and of the simple joys that once defined daily existence. Grief has become a constant companion for many, as families struggle to process the absence of those they love. Empty chairs at dinner tables serve as daily reminders of those who are missing. Children ask questions that have no easy answers, while spouses and parents cling to memories, cherished objects, old photographs, and the hope that one day their loved ones will return. The silence from the front is heavy, filled with fear and the constant imagining of worst-case scenarios. Every ring of the phone, every knock at the door, brings a surge of hope or dread. The uncertainty is its own kind of torment, as families wait for news that may never come. For the families of the captured and missing, the agony is even sharper. They face the torment of not knowing, of living each day with unanswered questions and the gnawing fear that their loved ones may never return. The war has created a vast population of prisoners of war and civilian detainees. Behind barbed wire and locked doors, thousands wait for freedom, their fates often unknown even to those closest to them. Each exchange, each letter smuggled out, is a lifeline for families desperate for any sign of hope. This suffering is a shared tragedy that transcends borders and politics. Ukrainian and Russian families alike mourn, hope, and pray for peace. In moments of shared grief, at border crossings, at vigils, at memorials, there is a recognition that pain knows no nationality. Families yearn for normalcy, a return to the routines and joys that war has stolen. Children try to play among ruins, parents attempt to rebuild what's been lost, and communities come together to support one another, even as the shadow of conflict lingers. The psychological weight of separation and loss creates a collective trauma that will last for generations. Support groups, counseling, and community outreach have become lifelines for those struggling to cope, but the scars, both visible and invisible, run deep. Yet amidst this pain, small beacons of hope have begun to emerge. Each reunion, each letter home, each act of kindness is a reminder that even in the darkest times the human spirit endures. The longing for peace, for healing, and for a future free from fear remains undimmed. Amidst the relentless war that has gripped Ukraine and Russia for years, where every day brings new headlines of destruction and loss, a rare glimmer of hope has emerged. The devastation is everywhere, shattered buildings, empty streets, and the constant echo of conflict. Yet, even in the heart of this chaos, moments of humanity manage to break through. Something truly remarkable has happened: prisoner exchanges between the two sides. These exchanges are not just bureaucratic transactions, they are deeply emotional events filled with tension, anticipation, and the possibility of new beginnings for those involved. These swaps are rare moments where, for a brief time, human life is valued above military objectives and political agendas. The faces of those released and the tears of their loved ones remind us that behind every statistic is a real person with a story. In 2025, these exchanges reached new levels of significance. In March alone, nearly 500 individuals, soldiers and civilians alike, were returned to their homes, sparking waves of relief and celebration across both nations. Then, on June 15th, a massive exchange took place. In a carefully coordinated operation, 1,000 Ukrainian prisoners were swapped for 1,000 Russian prisoners. The scale of this event was unprecedented, drawing attention from the international community and offering a rare moment of cooperation amid ongoing hostilities. Alongside these large-scale swaps, smaller and more frequent exchanges continue to occur. These often focus on the most vulnerable, wounded soldiers in need of urgent care, and civilians who have been caught in the crossfire. Each exchange, no matter the size, is a lifeline for those involved. Every successful exchange is a victory for diplomacy, a testament to the power of negotiation even in the darkest times. For families, it is a moment of indescribable relief as long-lost loved ones are finally returned home. The sight of these exchanges is almost surreal. Buses, often marked with Red Cross symbols, cross heavily guarded demarcation lines carrying hope from one side to the other. The tension in the air is palpable, but so is the anticipation. As the exchanges unfold, the tension gives way to tears of relief and overwhelming joy. Families are reunited, friends embrace, and for a moment the pain of war is replaced by the healing power of human connection. These scenes of hope and reunion stand in stark contrast to the destruction and despair that have become all too familiar. They are a reminder that, even in the midst of devastation, the human spirit endures and seeks ways to heal. For every person released, there are still many more waiting, families holding on to hope, prisoners longing for freedom, and communities yearning for peace. The desire to bring people home is a powerful force that persists, even when the odds seem insurmountable. Even in the darkest moments of war, there is a powerful desire for humanity, for compassion, and for reconciliation. These exchanges are proof that despite everything, hope can survive, and sometimes it can even triumph. How do these exchanges happen? The process is far from simple. Behind every handshake and every formal meeting, there are countless hours of careful planning, intense negotiation, and delicate maneuvering. Diplomacy in these moments becomes a high-stakes dance, one where every step must be measured and every word chosen with precision. It all begins with the creation of lists, detailed records of prisoners each side hopes to bring home. These lists are not just names on paper, they represent lives, families, and the hopes of entire communities waiting for their loved ones' return. These documents form the very foundation of the negotiations. Each name is carefully reviewed, and every condition is scrutinized. Negotiators debate not only who will be exchanged, but also under what terms, sometimes including health status, legal charges, or even the timing and location of the exchange. To ensure fairness and reduce tensions, talks are often held in neutral countries. These locations provide a safe space, away from the direct influence of the conflicting parties, where diplomats can focus on reaching an agreement. Mediators, often from respected international organizations, play a crucial role. They shuttle messages, proposals, and counter-proposals between the sides, helping to clarify misunderstandings and keep the dialogue moving forward. Interpreters ensure that nothing is lost in translation, as even a single word can change the outcome. Negotiations are rarely smooth. Disagreements over the number of prisoners, the logistics of the exchange, or the conditions attached can cause talks to stall for days or even weeks. Emotions run high and frustration is common as each side tries to secure the best possible outcome for their people. Throughout the process, secrecy is paramount. Closed doors and tight security help prevent political pressure, media leaks, or outside interference that could derail the fragile progress being made inside. When the day of the exchange finally arrives, the atmosphere is charged with tension. Prisoners are transported under heavy guard, their faces a mix of hope and anxiety as they approach the moment that could change their lives forever. International observers, such as the Red Cross or United Nations, are present to monitor the process. Their presence ensures that both sides adhere to humanitarian principles and that the exchange is conducted fairly and transparently. Each prisoner is carefully identified and checked against the official lists. This step is vital to prevent mistakes and to guarantee that everyone agreed upon is accounted for. Only when every condition has been met and every name checked does the actual transfer take place. The moment is often marked by a handshake, a symbol of agreement and a signal that the exchange can proceed. For the prisoners and their families, this is a moment of profound relief and overwhelming emotion. It marks the end of a long and uncertain journey and the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with hope, healing, and the promise of reunion. The success of exchanges relies on mediators. The UAE and Turkey play pivotal roles using influence and neutrality. The UAE hosts secret meetings focusing on humanitarian outcomes. Turkey, with strategic ties, mediates discussions and logistics. Mediators act as guarantors, ensuring agreements are honored. Their work shows how middle power countries can play constructive roles. Behind the numbers are individual stories of survival and reunion. When buses arrive, families search for loved ones. Reunions are emotional explosions of tears and gratitude. A young medic from Mariupol, captured during the siege, returns home. Her family, after years of silence, experiences a resurrection. An elderly farmer detained on suspicion returns to his family. His story highlights forgotten civilian victims. These stories repeat with each exchange. A young soldier sees his child for the first time. A wife traces scars on her husband's arms. These moments cut through war politics. They are intensely personal yet universally understood. They are victories for families, lives reclaimed from the abyss. To understand the impact, let's look at Major Ivan Petrenko. Captured during Bakhmut's fierce fighting, his unit surrendered. Ivan spent 18 months in grim conditions maintaining hope. He organized fellow prisoners, shielding younger soldiers. Hope came when his name was called for exchange. The journey was filled with fear and fragile hope. Seeing buses from the other side, reality sank in. His first call to his wife was disbelief turned to relief. Their reunion was a silent acknowledgement of their journey. Ivan's journey ended, but recovery began. His story is one of resilience and hope. It shows the profound impact of these exchanges. Civilians like Olena Kovalenko are also caught in conflict. A librarian, she resisted occupation by keeping culture alive. Accused of propaganda, she was detained without charge. Her family was frantic, with no information. Olena recited poetry to herself, holding on to hope. Her release came through a civilian-focused swap. Her reunion with her son was emotional. Olena's story highlights civilian struggles. It underscores the importance of not forgetting civilians. Her experience is a reminder of war's reach. It shows the critical need for civilian-focused exchanges. What do these exchanges signify for the conflict? They are positive developments, symbols of humanity. Each swap is a diplomatic success and humanitarian victory. For families, they are everything, ending agonizing waits. But they are not peace treaties or signs of war ending. Swaps are crisis management, not conflict resolution. They create communication channels for future talks. Successful operations build fragile trust. They offer hope, but don't change political disagreements. They are beacons of light in darkness. They provide relief, not resolution. Understanding this distinction is crucial. Can this fragile cooperation be nurtured into more? Success depends on mediators like the UAE and Turkey. They provide neutral ground and diplomatic support. Families' advocacy pressures leaders to prioritize exchanges. Organizations document the missing and lobby governments. Their work keeps prisoners as names, not numbers. Hope is a powerful political force. Expanding exchanges could lead to systematic returns. The goal is to make the process routine and reliable. The story of swaps is one of hope amidst war. It affirms shared humanity, focusing on people, not politics.